The story kicks off with a drive through the heart of the city, where Travis is navigating his taxi. We then flash back to the moment when Travis approached a taxi company to get a job. He explained that he couldn't sleep at night, which is why he wanted to drive a taxi. This reason didn't sit well with the taxi owner initially. However, since Travis was also a retired Marine, just like the owner, he decided to trust him. Travis is portrayed as a man with no one ahead or behind him, no friends, and no girlfriend. He struggles with insomnia and doesn't feel truly awake either, reflecting his troubled state of mind. His loneliness drives him to jot down daily events in a diary, and he attempts to organize his life by creating a timetable. Though he tries to change, he finds it difficult to do so. Driving the taxi at night reveals the city's harsh realities to him. He harbors a strong dislike for African Americans and is disgusted by prostitution. The things he witnesses at night keep his blood boiling. Travis yearns for a significant change, though he doesn't know how it will come about. His taxi serves as a temporary destination for passengers, some heading to their destinations and others using it as an escape. Every night when Travis returns the car, he meticulously cleans the back seat, sometimes even removing bloodstains. In his free time, he indulges in adult films. We see him trying to befriend women, but they don't reciprocate, further aggravating his mental state. Travis believes in discipline and honesty with oneself. He finds the city's inhabitants distasteful, but is captivated one day by a woman who seems like an angel to him. He decides he wants to spend the rest of his life with her. This woman works at an agency preparing for a presidential candidate's election campaign, essentially a PR team for politicians. Such agencies are often used by politicians to enhance their image, akin to how news outlets sometimes flatter politicians. As the presidential elections approach, the agency's work is in full swing, preparing support for Senator Palantine. Betsy's co-worker harbors feelings for her, but she isn't interested. One day, Betsy notices someone staring at her intently from outside. It turns out to be none other than Travis. He has started neglecting his job to follow Betsy, seemingly smitten by her. When Betsy's co-worker tells Travis to move his car, he drives off quickly. At night, he roams the city, perceiving its bustling crowd as filth. The open display of prostitution and criminals irks him. Parking his cab by the side, he joins other cab drivers for coffee. Travis, being quite an introverted person, struggles with conversation, which adds to his loneliness. The other drivers chat about women, but Travis has nothing to contribute. The next day, we see Betsy talking to her co-worker, while Travis observes from outside, now dressed in a suit. Soon, he steps out of his taxi and heads towards the agency with confidence, approaching Betsy. He tells her that something about her draws him in. Betsy finds his words intriguing, albeit a bit surprising. Impressed by Travis's dedication and his bright demeanor, she agrees to join him for coffee, but at 4 p.m. Travis eagerly waits for her until 4 p.m., and then they head to a cafe, where they have a conversation. Betsy remains mostly quiet, while Travis keeps talking. Travis casually criticized Betsy's co-worker, saying he didn't like him at all. Betsy didn't appreciate Travis's comments, but she didn't know him well yet. When Travis asked her to a movie, she agreed, but for the following week. While driving his taxi at night, Travis had a surprising passenger, Mr. Palantine, the presidential election candidate for whom Betsy's agency was working. Travis told Palantine that he was a big fan and supporter, which made Palantine happy. He asked Travis what bothered him about the city. Travis couldn't pinpoint anything because he didn't watch the news or follow political issues. However, upon further probing, he expressed his annoyance with the nighttime filth, criminals, and prostitution, and his frustration that no one was doing anything to stop it. Later, a frightened girl got into his cab, urging him to drive quickly. Before Travis could grasp the situation, a man appeared and forcibly took the girl away. Travis wanted to intervene but couldn't, so he quietly drove off. Soon after, some young men vandalized his car by throwing eggs and bottles at it. These incidents troubled him, and he wanted to take action. The next day, Travis got ready to take Betsy out for a movie, trying to act like a gentleman. He took her to an adult theater, which appalled Betsy. She thought Travis was insane and left without a word. She stopped answering his calls and avoided him, leaving Travis confused. He couldn't understand why she had suddenly stopped talking to him after they had shared so many conversations. Frustrated, Travis showed up at her office, wanting to know why Betsy wasn't responding to his calls. Travis had never interacted so closely with a woman before, so he couldn't comprehend the abrupt silence. When Betsy's co-worker tried to intervene, Travis showed his frustration, making a scene and embarrassing both himself and Betsy before storming out. One night, a man asked Travis to pull over. He was willing to pay Travis as long as he stayed in the car. He pointed up to the second floor of a building where a woman was visible. The passenger explained that she was his wife, but the apartment wasn't his. It meant she was cheating on him. Travis didn't react to his story. The passenger then revealed his plan to kill her that night and sought Travis's opinion on whether he should do it. Travis remained silent, but his expression suggested he felt sympathy for the passenger and didn't mind his plan. If Travis had been troubled by it, he might have at least attempted to dissuade him, but he didn't. After all, Travis had recently gone through a breakup, so he could relate to the passenger's emotions. The film doesn't reveal what the passenger did next. Travis sat in a coffee shop, feeling restless and anxious. He took his co-worker outside, someone he'd barely spoken to before, but who was older. Travis asked him for advice, sharing that he wanted to do something, though he wasn't sure what. Dark thoughts clouded his mind, but he lacked direction. The other driver advised him to engage in something beyond just taxi driving, as people become known for their work. If Travis wasn't happy being a taxi driver, he should consider doing something else. Yet Travis still couldn't find answers to his questions. One day, Travis spotted the same girl again, prompting him to begin training rigorously. Though we didn't initially know the purpose of his training or why he acquired a gun, these questions would soon be answered. He started doing 50 push-ups and 50 pull-ups daily, ensuring his muscles were always primed for action, rather than passively observing events. He even practiced shooting to prepare himself thoroughly, as if he were going to war. Travis began scrutinizing Palatine's presidential campaign, saying things to one of Palatine's secret agents that aroused suspicion. When asked for his name and address, Travis provided false information, clearly planning something significant. This was why he was monitoring their campaign. We then witnessed the iconic scene where Travis talks to himself in front of a mirror. On a shopping trip one night, a thug entered the store intending to rob it. Travis hesitated briefly before shooting the robber, despite not having a gun license, which could have landed him in trouble. Thankfully, the shopkeeper assured him he'd handle everything. Travis encountered the same girl who had once ridden in his cab. She directed him to her pimp, named Sport, who initially mistook Travis for a cop. Once Travis clarified he wasn't, Sport disclosed the girl's rates, and Travis paid to take her to a room. However, his intentions were different. He wanted to rescue her, believing she should be in school, not there. When he asked for her name, she initially gave a false one, but eventually revealed it was Iris. Travis did nothing inappropriate, but was puzzled that the girl, who had once wanted to escape, was content staying. He invited her for coffee, and they met at a cafe, where he attempted to persuade her that the place wasn't right for her. He argued she should be at home with her parents. Yet, influenced by the rising wave of feminism, she had left home in pursuit of freedom. She retorted that this was her liberty, asking if Travis hadn't heard of women's liberation. Travis explained that what she considered freedom was actually a prison, forcing her into degrading work. Iris began to grasp his point, and Travis left money and a note for her, saying he'd be dead by the time she found it. Travis then attended the presidential campaign, disguised, intending to assassinate Palatine, possibly because Betsy supported him, or perhaps because he believed Palatine wouldn't affect change after gaining power. Whatever the reason, today was meant to be Palatine's last. Fortunately, a secret agent spotted him, and Travis fled. Had he fired a shot, he would have been killed. Travis went to retrieve Iris. When Sport didn't answer his question about her whereabouts and instead taunted him, Travis drew his gun and shot him. He proceeded to the hotel, shooting the manager too, though Sport managed to shoot him in the neck from behind. A significant shootout ensued, with Travis killing Sport, a client and the manager, but he was severely wounded. Attempting to shoot himself, he found his gun empty, so he sat on the sofa, awaiting death. Just then, 2 policemen arrived. Before they could shoot him, Travis mimed shooting himself with his fingers and fainted. Subsequently, newspaper clippings revealed that Travis had returned from the hospital, hailed as a hero by the media. The headlines hailed the ordinary taxi driver who took down all the gangsters, catapulting him to fame. Even the police didn't arrest him. Alongside, we see a letter from Iris's parents, grateful to him for helping their daughter escape a life of vice and return home. She's now attending school again. We then see Travis, his hair grown back, looking rather content. Betsy gets into his taxi, wanting to talk to him. It seems like their past altercation never happened. Ever since she read about him in the news, she's wanted to reconnect. However, Travis doesn't pay much attention to her, dropping her at her destination and driving off. Suddenly, he catches a glimpse of something in the rearview mirror that startles him. With the city's bright lights as a backdrop, the movie concludes at this mysterious note. The ending leaves many feeling unsatisfied, almost too good to be true. According to a popular theory, Travis actually died on that sofa that night. Everything we saw was a figment of his imagination as he was dying, envisioning himself as the city's hero and Betsy returning to him, with everything falling perfectly into place. After all, Travis had killed 3 people with an unlicensed gun and had attempted to assassinate Senator Palantine in a bald state. The police letting him go seems far-fetched. So, what do you think? Is the ending as shown the reality, or is it the popular theory that it was all in his mind?